County in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. So happy to give me a chunk of your afternoon. And if you want to give me a call, you can. I'll take your call after the break, 585 346 3000. You know, I was thinking about something last weekend, a couple of days ago, when I saw either it was on the news or maybe it was on social media, people in Chicago, particularly Black people in Chicago, I think it was Chicago, upset, angry, because migrants are in their city. Upset. Hey, gotta do something. We're unhappy. And what I thought about was what you've heard me say often. I thought Democrats love Black people. They tell me this almost every day. I hear it all the time. Love Black people. In fact, Republicans hate Black people. That's what they tell me. Every week I hear this. Republicans are racist. They can't stand Black people. Democrats love Black people. I hear that literally weekly. But then I always push back and I say, okay, if you are an establishment Democrat, what is your policy? How do you actually help Black people? And if you're a Democratic voter, what are you seeing? How are they doing it? Right? Please. I get the rhetoric is nice. I do. Democratic rhetoric is better than Republican rhetoric when it comes to race. That's 100% accurate. Not even arguable. Now, let's go away from the rhetoric and to actually what are you going to do? Right? What's happening? I don't see great Democratic action. A lot of talk. Give them that. Where's the action? And so now, Black people are upset. You're bringing all these migrants in. I thought you cared about us. You've been telling us that you care about us for a long time. So what's with the migrants here? How come they're getting the checks and we're not? How come they're getting the phones and we're not? How come they're getting hotels and we're not? Now you want to give them hotels, you got to give us hotels, right? You told us you loved us more than once. You can hook me up with a hotel room, but you can hook up these guys with hotel rooms? Now you told them that you love them too. And I'm not mad that you love the migrants. I'm not. I like migrants too. They help my city of New York all the time. I'm not upset at all. What you like in migrants, it's fine. But now they're here. You told them that you love them. You told them they can come to your house. They can hang out in your house all day. You told them that. So they came. They said, oh, great, I'm invited. I'm coming to your house. And now you're mad. That's not great. Because when I first, if you remember, when Texas and Florida started sending migrants into these cities, people thought it was just a troll. And to be forward, it was a good troll, right? It was. That's true. It was a good troll. And I have a feeling that really that's kind of what they wanted. They wanted a good troll, and it totally worked. Good troll. But if you remember what I talked about, I said it was actually smarter than just a troll. For those of you who were paying attention to me back then, I actually said this is smarter. This is smarter than a troll because it's going to make these cities who talk about migrants have to kind of do something. And I didn't think it was going to be this big, but I knew it was going to be something. It's huge. The problem is this goes back to what most of these politicians have been doing for decades. Don't get me wrong, there's a couple who actually care and want to make things work. There are a couple, but they're few and far between. Most of them just want to virtue signal. So they say, we love migrants. We're an open city. We're a sanctuary city. See, we love brown people because we're Democrats, so we love brown people. See, all the brown people, we love them all because we're Democrats. Republicans are terrible. They're bad. They're racist. We're not. That's why they're mad when they go to Florida and Texas. It's not because they're a burden. It's because they're racist. That's the reason. Well, now they're here. Okay, they're here. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'm not against, in any way, shape, or form, a city being a sanctuary city. I'm a libertarian, all about it. Just not sanctuary for only migrants. I don't know, Second Amendment would be nice too. I'm just saying I'm not against the idea of localism at all. But if you're going to play that game, you have to have a plan. Right? You have to have a plan. You're going to take all these migrants in? Okay, great. What's your plan for the people who are already there and for the migrants you're bringing in? They went, Our plan is create another industrial complex to support our cronies and to screw over everybody who's there. Why would you solve the homeless problem when you can have a homeless industrial complex where the government's shifting out money to people that keep the homeless? Oh, migrant workers? Why would I fix my border? Why would I fix the migrant crisis when I can create an industrial complex to ship a bunch of cash to all my buddies so they can house all the migrants? In fact, now I'll use federal money, which is better than state money. Oh, that's the free money. So we'll take the free money. We'll give more of that out to the point where now the people who were helping the homeless, the local people who were in trouble, well, we'll throw them out because there's more money in migrants. So we'll take them instead. This is what we're I'm upset because people in our cities who actually need help, who, if you're gonna spend the money, clearly I don't want us grabbing money from the federal government every 5 seconds, but let's be realistic. They keep doing it. They're not listening to me and fixing anything. They just keep pulling money out of the Fed and saying, well, Uncle Joe will keep writing me checks. So I'll take another 20 billion, please. Uncle Joe, another 20 billion? 15 this time. Next week, 25. And they keep taking the billions and they keep taking the billions, but they never fix anything. And the people who need it most, the Americans who are there in those cities, in those areas, are never helped. Now, why did I bring this up? I've been complaining about this forever. Forever. Why did I bring it up? Because what you're finding now is a bunch of people in poorer neighborhoods, particularly black and brown, starting to push back on the Democratic Party, saying, wait a minute, you don't just get my vote anymore because you've been talking trash and you've been whispering sweet nothings to me for decades. And it has sounded good and it's made me feel good. It has. You've been whispering sweet nothings for a while and it does feel good. But every morning I wake up, I'm in the same spot I was. In fact, I'm often worse. So now I'm angrier. Right? If I'm a Democrat, I'm actually more angry at Democrats now because they promised me something. They promised me the sweet nothings, and then here comes your side chick, and your side chick comes in. Well, I've been here the whole time, and you're giving everything to the side chick? No. So I'm now extra angry at you. The question, though, is now that we have a bunch of people, particularly black and brown in cities, who are saying, I don't like this Democratic Party as much anymore. Now, that's not 100%, but you're seeing cracks. This is not like all of a sudden tomorrow, they're walking off the Democratic Party. That's not real. But are they shifting? 100%. Absolutely true. No doubt. Where are they going to go? Who is going to help them? Who is going to actually hear them? And here, believe it or not, is my biggest worry. Is that when they finally realize the Democratic Party never cared about them, never cared ever, and this isn't the time they've changed their mind, and this time it's going to work, they're finally going to get it, that they're just going to check out and say it doesn't matter. They're going to give up, stop caring, stop voting, stop caring about the communities, stop doing anything. And don't get me wrong, is voting the only answer? Only when I'm running. When I'm running, it is the only answer. But when I'm not running, it's not the only answer. And they should be, everybody, they, me, you, they, us, all of the pronouns. We should be taking action to make things better. And my worry is when so many people have put so much time, money, and energy into a Democratic Party establishment that has done nothing for them for decades, how do you come out of that? It's a serious question. How do you come out of that when that has been who you are or how you've identified for literally decades? That is not an easy thing to do. And what I would ask you, if you are someone trying to draw them in to your side, as I am as a libertarian, yelling at them and saying I told you so is not going to be the way to draw them into your side. Calling them names, laughing at them is not the way to draw them to your side. Now that they're thinking, maybe this Democratic Party thing isn't what I thought it was. Now is the time to say, hey, I'm here. I have some ideas that might make your community better. I have some ideas that might help you out, or at least not hurt you, or at least be fair. At least be fair at a minimum. Because here's the part where they're 100% correct. And again, I'm a libertarian. I don't want to be spending all this money, but we're going to spend it. And if you're going to spend it, why is it going to somebody else and not the people who've been here supporting us in our communities for literally decades? If they're angry, I get it. It makes total sense. Am I wrong? Tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here. Sharpe Way Radio. WYSL Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and the internet chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business.
Okay, we have Keith from Rochester.
Too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law? That in 2020, there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Yes, Larry Sharpe here, Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000. Before the break, I was talking about the shift in many, I would say, traditional Democratic voters in cities, particularly people black and brown, mad, angry, feeling betrayed by this migrant crisis and all the money coming in, right? Where should this money go? If I'm going to keep getting literally billion-dollar checks from Uncle Joe, should that be going to migrants? Should it be going to something else? Let me grab a call. I'm going to grab Keith from Rochester. Keith, how are you, sir?
All Americans, all hands on deck. I've been saying for decades that someday, but probably not, we're going to have a discussion on race in this country that is going to anger and discomfort blacks and whites, whites and blacks back and forth. We're going to make it so both groups really understand that what they think about race really is not that too many whites go around saying that they do not dislike blacks, and blacks for themselves perceiving maybe their lower stature in society, not feeling that they can really speak up. But, Mr. Sharpe, someday we're going to have that discussion, and there are going to be a lot of red faces of every shade insofar as people really having to face the issue of race that has always been the soft underbelly of American life. So,
I agree with you. I think we have to have more. In fact, it's funny you bring this up. There are a lot of people, probably monthly, maybe even every couple of weeks sometimes, people reach out to me often in social media, and they ask me to tackle racial issues often. And I say to myself, why do they want me to tackle these issues? And I think it's what you're saying, Keith. They want someone to moderate real conversations on racial issues without getting completely crazy and yelling and screaming, going back and forth, because race is emotional. People get upset. People get mad. I think you're right.
Well, continuing on with blatantly the illegal immigration, what Biden is doing, because so many of these marginal, lower-paying jobs, as you were astutely stating, go to the blacks and Hispanics here legally. The figures are coming in of just how many of these people just mentioned are being thrown out of jobs because of the cheap labor coming in. So I always say, as everyone has to, in my case, I am what I am, in my case, a conservative white guy. So I am asking in a beseeching manner to blacks and Hispanics, when are you going to get on the dime and understand that you're being betrayed by your precious Democrat Party? You keep voting for them. Biden brings in the illegals, and you who are marginalized with your lower paying jobs, you lose your job to the illegals, but you keep voting for the Democrats anyway. So I'm asking about before I go long here, am I being racist by even demanding that the blacks and Hispanics look at themselves in the mirror and really start to get their noggins working and see how they're being betrayed by them, the Dems?
Well, let me touch a couple pieces. The first one is, I do think that more people, I'll use the phrase people of color, are realizing that the Democratic Party is not their friend. That's not true. Sorry. If you are elite, right? If you are a black person, Hispanic person who's gone to Harvard, who's gone to Yale, who, is elite part of the DC culture or any of that, Democratic Party is your friend, right? If you're that. But if you're not that, it's not your friend. But you ask the question, why? Or when would they figure it out? I'll tell you why. When you're in trouble, you will hear what whoever wants to put their hand out to you when you're in trouble. And when people are in trouble, they go, okay, you'll put your hand out, you'll talk to me, okay, because I'm desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. So I think you look at the rhetoric of the Republican Party prior to Trump, and this is going to sound weird for many people, because everyone says, you hear all the time, Trump's racist, Trump's horrible, he's racist, he's terrible. But look at his rhetoric versus prior. Prior to Trump, Republican rhetoric was bootstraps, just say no, welfare queens. That was Republican rhetoric. Well, if I'm in trouble, I don't like that rhetoric. Democratic rhetoric was, oh, we got you. We're going to get you programs. We're going to help you. So if I'm in trouble, the Democratic side looks a whole lot better when there's only two parties. When that's all I see, when that's all media will give me, that's all I'll see. So which one am I going to pick? I'm either going to not show up or I'm going to go to the people who sound nice. And that's been happening for decades. But there's been changes. Change number one is actually not Trump. That's change number two. Change number one is internet. I can see there are other options out there. So now I don't have to only go this left-right paradigm only. There are other people, other issues that I can look at. So now I'm starting to rethink. But to be forward, Keith, this has been something that Black and brown communities have been subjected to for decades. They're not going to change their mindset overnight. This is taking time. And I think you're seeing it. You are seeing more and more people go, wait a minute, there's other options out there. Number one. Number two, Trump's rhetoric actually wasn't anti-Black. And people can't believe that, but it wasn't. His rhetoric was just neutral. It was, what do you have to lose? Here's a job. Next. And what most, and please, my white liberal friends who are listening, I love you. Please don't be mad at me. But you know what I'm going to say is true. Most white liberals don't actually understand what a working class Black person cares about. We actually care about our families, growing, having success. Racism, very low on our list of cares. I know some of your heads exploded, but it's true. When Black people hear this white guy said some bad stuff, we go, great. Do I have my job still? Great. Can I pay my bills this week? Awesome. Some white guy's racist. Awesome. Does my son have education? Is my daughter educated? Can she get a job? They can't. Great. Some white guy's racist. I don't care. And here's the other part that you bring up, Keith, that you're right, that a lot of people can't get. The average American's not racist. I'm going to say it. It's just true. The average American doesn't care about race at all. Now, recently that's changed because it's been pushed to the forefront. You go back just 10 years, the average American didn't care. Now, the problem is when there were problems, often Americans would ignore them. That's true. And that's a bad thing. We shouldn't ignore problems. However, that doesn't mean you're racist. It means you don't care. Most Americans go about their life not caring who the guy next to them or the gal next to them is Black or white or Hispanic or Jewish or Christian or whatever. They're living their life, trying to get by, trying to grow. We have pushed race to the front in the past 10 to 15 years and made it to where it's all that matters. When in reality, most Americans don't care. You allowed me to rant, Keith. Thank you so much for that. I hope I covered most of your issues.
Well, I wish I had longer with you, but you made your points. I agree.
Thank you, my friend. Is Keith right? Am I right? Let us know. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, WYSL Rochester, New York. Sharpe Way Radio. Back with your calls and the chat after the break.
For truth and freedom.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll have mainly clear skies, warm and muggy in the low 70s. On Wednesday, another hot day, up around 90. The heat index into the mid-90s. Should be heat advisories in effect once again. Mostly sunny, just a slight chance of a pop-up storm in the afternoon. Better chance for some showers and thunder on Thursday. Another hot one in the upper 80s to near 90. I'm Rich Caniglia, WYSL.
Your go-to for standard of specialized business insurance coverage. MGM Associates of Rochester, now serving the region and beyond in New York. Since 1984, MGM has provided leading coverage from a wide range of carriers. Not only home, condo, boat, motorcycle, and auto, but also specialized policies for all types of businesses, including nonprofits and law firms, livery insurance, property insurance, and bonds for all needs. MGM Associates of Rochester provides auto, workers' comp, healthcare, and liability coverage. Choose from virtual appointments or good old in-office, in-person consults by appointment at our Penfield office. 5-time consecutive winner of the National Best Practices Award. MGM is proud to support veterans groups. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the experienced staff at MGM Associates. Locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield, 381-7008, or mgminsure.com. An associate of Midstate Mutual Insurance, Route 34, Auburn, New York.
Summer savings and off-road fun continue with the all-new Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 6484 Route 96 in Victor. Try these deals. Lease a 2023 Jeep Compass Limited 4x4, only $299 a month for 36 months with $2,500 down. Must be Conquest or returning lessee. A 2024 Jeep Wrangler 4-door Sports 4XE is just $339 a month for 36 months, $3,500 down. A 2023 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid Touring Minivan is just $499 a month for 36 months. $3,500 down. Choose from 7 Ram 1500 crew and quad cab pickups and get $4,000 in consumer cash for qualified buyers. All lease deals require first payment, DMV taxes, and fees due at signing, 10,000 miles per year. Other conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers at Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and Finger Lakes. Visit the most beautiful new vehicle sales and service dealership in the area. Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, now at 6484 Route 96, just east of Victor.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
Batavia Downs Gaming exists for you to have fun coming to visit us. By doing that, you help support our member counties, education, local charities, and each and every one of our 400 employees. We want to say thank you. 2022 was our biggest year ever in credits played, money provided to our member counties, money for education and charities in our area. And we want you to continue to love coming here. Batavia Downs Gaming, we thank you for a great 2022, and our best times are ahead of us.
Batavia Downs with more, lots more.
I was running late for work. Backing out of the driveway, I ran over my wife's cat. Showing up late, they fired me. Then my upset wife left me. Then I called Western New York Sealing and Paving. They did a great job on my driveway. Thanks, Western New York.
Some situations may be over-dramatized.
WNYPave.com. That's WNYPave.com.
Call 247-8466. 247-8466.
Baskin Livestock's success in recycling food waste into animal feed comes from a focus on growth and a belief that there's value in what others are tempted to discard. Their bank feels the same. While other financial institutions cycle through business relationships, Tompkins Bank knows the best things are worth preserving and lead to long-term growth. Tompkins, your bank of choice. Find out more at tompkinsbank.com.
WYSL now conducts a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
It is indeed Larry Sharpe here, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Sharpe Way Radio, 585-346-3000. Before the break, I was talking with Keith about the changes in mindset that have to happen in many parts of our country. And I think we're moving there, but we're not there yet. And the other part I want to bring up is, obviously, as a libertarian, I don't want us dropping money. I don't want us writing all these checks. Of course not. With that in mind, I am a realist. That's not always true. I'm an optimist. I'm more pragmatic, I will say. How about that? That's what I'll say. I'm not a realist. I'm an optimist. And Keith gets mad at me when I'm not realistic before him. But yes, I'm an optimist. However, I am pragmatic enough to realize that without question, that money is coming in. And if I'm going to spend the money, why am I spending it on something where there's no investment? Why am I not investing it in the people who I say I care about? Clearly, I don't care about them if I don't spend it on them, but I should be. And what's actually happening is many of these communities are actually getting it. They're saying, wait a minute, this money is coming in. For those who don't know, the money coming in, a lot of it, not all of it, obviously, but a chunk of it is going to two things. Salaries for people to run this, of course, government jobs, right? And most of those jobs being given to cronies, people who are buddies, contractors who have supported the system. And the second part is to house people. I'm not against housing people. Housing people is a wonderful idea. People should have homes. Absolutely. Where's the investment? If these people can work and are good workers and are going to help our state, how are we facilitating that? If these people aren't, how are we facilitating that? If our own people in our states are ready to work and do stuff, how are we facilitating that? That's not part of any of this. This is just more giveaways that doesn't fix the issue. And finally, literally, I've been saying this for 7 years now. Finally, people are going, wait a minute. This is right. Just making more government jobs isn't investment. Just creating more government jobs that come from taxation. So while they do pay taxes, I need private sector taxes to pay for their salaries. Or I got to keep asking Uncle Joe for money, which great. You know what? Why do you think New York State is so all in on Uncle Joe winning the election? Because if he doesn't, those checks might dry up. They need to make sure those checks keep coming. So as clearly I don't like it, but I get it. I understand it. It's a corrupt system. They're all corrupt. And they're like, well, I got to keep my gravy train rolling. So Biden 2024, right? Because that's the gravy train keeps coming. So I got to make that come. I think that's one of the issues that really drives me crazy. I'm laughing about it a bit, but I'm laughing because I'm going to cry if I don't laugh. Maybe that's it. Let me grab some of the chat. You guys give me a lot of comments. Dan says, Larry, why do Democrats always play the race card? Sadly, Dan, and this may make you upset, because it often works. They're using tactics that in the past have worked. Now, again, to my point, it's not working as well. Data is in. You are seeing the Democratic Party lose a lot of their, particularly male Black voters. They aren't losing as many women Black voters. A lot of women Black voters are staying with the Democratic Party. Some are leaving, but to nowhere near the number of male Black voters. Many of them are leaving. Also, male Hispanic voters are also leaving the Democratic Party. They aren't all going Republican, though, right? They are going, some are going Republican, some are going to other parties too. Green Party, Libertarian Party, they are going to other parties also. Even just going off the grid, like I'm done. That's also happening. It has worked. That's why they keep doing it. Desiree says the government should definitely not be spending billions of dollars in other countries, neglecting Americans. Desiree, this is my exact point. Thank you for being clearer. I should have been clearer on this. Is it important to send money overseas? Okay, only if it is directly affecting Americans. And some people get mad. No, Larry, this war is good, or that war is good, or the other war is good, or this. No, if it's not directly affecting Americans, we shouldn't be throwing money overseas. But we do. Again, I get it. We do. So now I have someone who's going to say, Larry, you crazy libertarian, you don't want to spend money here in America, but you're okay spending it overseas. I'm not okay with either. But to your point, Desiree, they're right. This actually makes hardcore leftists. And when I say hardcore leftists, I don't mean social leftists. I mean economic leftists. People who believe in socialism and you should just give the money to people. It gives them a leg to stand on. Because they're right. If I can give 50 billion to this country, 20 billion to that country, 100 billion to that country, well, why can't I pay for my education? They're not wrong. If I can give 100 billion here, 200 billion here, 30 billion here, how come I can't pay off my student debt? They're not wrong.
Roger, Nassau County.
Right? They're not wrong. So I think you're completely right. We're giving them the advantage. 100%. I'm going to grab another call if I can. I'm going to grab Roger from Nassau. Roger, how are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on?
So, all right. So let me say this real quick. So the silent mature, and boomer voters from our community who hail from the civil rights era have betrayed their Generation X, Millennial, and Zoomer children. Let's not forget. Let's not forget those from our community who hail from the boule also, who are paid agent Democrat operatives like Roland Martin, Al Sharpton, whose job it is to keep us in the Democrat Party. This whole
that was
thing
kind of my point, Roger, I was bringing up earlier. If you're the right kind of black person, the Democratic Party is exactly for you.
So the whole thing of black people starting to side-eye the Democrat Party started with the Obama presidency. When we saw, like, hold up, wait a minute. Why are you doing all these things for all these other groups, but we voted for you like at 90%, like no other group ever?
Yep.
But what we get is a speech about vote, 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 and Pookie, pull your pants up. That was the start of it. That was the start of it. Once black millennials saw what the Democrat Party did to Bernie in 2016 and 2020, who had overwhelming black millennial support, it ramped up. Most black people don't vote. So going to Keith's point, when he said, oh, black people vote Democrat, most black people don't vote because they look at how black people are doing in Mississippi, Alabama, Missouri, the Carolinas, and they see they are doing just as bad as people in California, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Connecticut, Massachusetts. So the answer is not for us to go to the GOP, but to register independent en masse to blast through the 50% threshold where we become the swing vote of the swing vote and hold leverage in all parties. But most of all, we need to abolish all political parties. Now, Keith is right
so
about
Let me touch a couple of these here. The first one I want to say is, I love your idea of the black community throughout America being independent, registering independent, and then being a swing vote. Wonderful. How do we do that one? I love that idea. That's brilliant. Then everybody would have to actually care about black people because they'd be the swing vote. That'd be amazing. I love that idea. But the second piece I want to bring up before you go on to what you said Keith agreed upon was, I cannot agree with you more about Obama. I think so many black people, myself included, felt betrayed by how he kind of just thanks for the votes and walked away. I agree.
Yeah.
You were saying, and Keith was right because? I'm sorry.
No, Keith was right about the immigration thing. They do, so like when he was talking about bringing in cheap labor and so on and so forth, and you hear this argument about, well, they do the jobs that most of Americans won't do. Well, we don't do them because we know our rights. The point was to withhold our labor until we make those jobs, until we force the boss class to make those jobs better for us. But the migrants are a scab class that thwarts that. Evidence.
Ooh, I like that, scab class. Huh. Okay.
Evidence is when Trump locked down the border and Americans continue to withhold their labor, and eventually the boss class had to relent, and they started offering wages that were like sky high. Remote work became a thing.
That.
They had to buckle to the workers. Now you see all these strikes happening all over the place with UPS, Amazon, auto work, UAW, Starbucks, all of it. They're happening all over the place because now the workers are pulling back their power from the boss class. You see what I'm saying? So that's pretty much like on point. What he was saying.
I appreciate what you're saying, and again, I'm not against migrants as a group of people. I'm against us not having a solid plan to integrate them like everybody else, giving them the same rights, the same privilege, the same everything as everybody else. We don't have a way of doing that, and that's how we're failing, without question. So, thank you for your call, Roger. I appreciate it. Is Roger correct? Is he on to something? I like the ideas. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe and Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and the chat after the break.
I just sent you a couple texts with some breaking news.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights.
Did you find that interesting?
Volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law? That in 2020, there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. 585-346-3000 is the number if you want to reach out and chat with me. We have been talking about race relations, about workers here in New York State, but more importantly, where should we be spending all this cash coming in from Uncle Joe? He keeps writing us checks because we won't fix anything. We keep things being broken, and then we worry, why are they still broken? It never changes. And I'll give you an example. I just got some from news from my engineer saying that United Airlines has downed a bunch of their airplanes. They're not flying right now because of computer issues. Isn't that infrastructure that maybe we should be building instead of sending money someplace else or housing migrants or whatever the case may be? Now, that's one thing. Who knows, right? That's just one thing. How many hundreds of other things could we have brought up? You might go, Larry, come on, it's airline. Why do I care? there's a critical reason why travel matters. You might go, well, because people go on a vacation. Well, sometimes yes, but often business too. People moving from their jobs, people doing work, people seeing people who are ill or sick. But more importantly, vacation does matter. For the average American, going on vacation is a big deal. So I spend my time working. I save money. I spend all that money now to go on a vacation someplace that I care about. Maybe I take my family and or friends, whatever I do. And now it's cut short. 1, 2, 3 days. I only got a certain number of vacation days every year off my job. Well, now I'm losing that because you can't fix your computers, which is all run by the government. So the government fails at this too, makes this worse and broken, is literally stealing days off of some guy or some gal, their family or their friends, maybe only the one time they travel someplace during the year or to see an elderly relative or something. And now it's gone. But we got money for other stuff, tons of money for other stuff. When people start saying, what about me? And we get upset. Well, you're entitled. What about you? When they see this, I go, I get it. I know why you're saying, what about me? We seem to have money for everything except what you want. But we got money for everything else, but just not for that. Yes, it is very frustrating. Let me grab a couple more comments. I have a bunch of these out here. Joel says, white people were disappointed with Obama's race relations work too. I know, Joel, I've heard that from many people, right? Don't get me wrong. Look, I have eyes, I have ears. Obama's charismatic. And even people don't like him go, the guy's charismatic. I mean, he can get up there, be smooth, talks well. He's very charismatic. That's true. This goes back to my earlier point in the first segment. The rhetoric is great. It really is. Okay, what are you doing though? What's the old saying? Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do. I would ask people to look at what they do. That is important. So yes, John says, you just made the media's head explode. Racism fuels the news media. Sadly, it often does. It does. And I'll say it again. The average American is not racist. There are racists. Of course there are. I don't want to sit there and act like there aren't. Of course there are. But the average American just doesn't care. This is one of the reasons why that dude, Ibram X. Kendi, came up with the idea of got to be anti-racist. It isn't enough to not be racist. Why did he say that? Because he knew most Americans just weren't racist. Again, there are racists. I'm going to keep saying that. I'm saying the vast majority of Americans just don't care. And he's like, wait a minute. If I could make these people evil. And what a brilliant grift, right? I don't want to hate the player, I hate the game. Actually, I don't like him either. However, I'm just going to say, great grift. If you don't care and you just want to be a race grifter, I mean, Kendi, top of the line. He made you not being racist and not caring racist. He made that racist. I mean, well done. And people bought it. They were like, yeah, it's totally right. Oh my God, buy his book, pay him thousands, give him a job at a university. I'm not joking. All of those things are true. Yes. So I just want to make sure we cover that piece. I do appreciate that. So yes. So if I can keep going to a couple more of these, Desiree goes, Republicans are at fault too. Make no mistake. Hence, I'm a parliamentarian. Agreed. Here's the problem with Republicans. And my Republican listeners, please don't be mad at me. Hear me. You know what I'm saying is true. Your rhetoric has been terrible. Your outreach has been non-existent. And I know what the response is. Larry, why should we reach out to the Black community? They never vote for us. That's been true for years. You're right. That's no longer true. Let's change the rhetoric, Republicans. Do some better reach out, Republicans. You're not good at this. In fact, maybe don't. Libertarians, Desiree, you and I, why don't we do a better job instead? How about libertarians do a better job? Let the Republicans keep messing up on their rhetoric and their outreach. How about we'll do better? But your point's well taken. Republicans have done nothing. And again, I get the logic, right? This goes back to Jared said, why do Democrats, or asked the question, why do Democrats go to the race? I'm sorry, Dan asked, why do Democrats use the race card? Because it works. Why haven't Republicans been doing good outreach? Because it doesn't work. That's been the reason. In my view, both are not an excuse. Both should be better. You are absolutely correct. Desiree, I appreciate that. John says, if they're willing to work, I would respect them more than someone who isn't. And I think it's about migrants. And I do think some migrants don't want to come into work. That's true. But I think most do. And this goes back now to Roger's point. Why aren't we making a system to where their labor competes with everyone's labor? We definitely need more labor. That's true. So why can't their labor compete fairly with every other American's labor? Right? Labor works in the market. Labor has a right to defend itself, to fight for more money, to fight for more benefits or whatever that labor wants, of course. But if you have an unfair playing field, well, now you're hammering labor. No, labor gets to fight like anybody else does. And sometimes they'll win, and sometimes labor will lose, as it should. That's how it works. But when, to your point, when you have an issue to where one group of laborers are just not playing by the same rules, how fair is that? Right? How fair actually is that? It isn't, which is why I'm saying I'm not against migrants at all. But we've got to have a plan. It's got to be fair to people who are here too. To them, of course, if you're going to invite them in, and I know some of you don't like this, but we did invite them in. New York City was literally like, we are a sanctuary city. Come on in. New York State, Her Majesty, Queen Kathy, first of her name, destroyer of the middle class, support of the elites. She invited them in, announced we are a sanctuary state. They're invited, and they came. And we did nothing but drop the ball and screw up. I'm not mad at migrants. I'm mad at us. We opened the border. We invited them to New York State, New York City, and had no plan and did nothing but fumble it. This is our fault, not theirs. If I was living where they're living, I'd be coming here too. You're inviting me to your house? I'm coming. You tell me you got pizza in the bed. I'm coming to your house. You invited me. And now you screwed up? That's not my fault. That's yours. That's all I'm saying. So, yes. All right, see if I can go down here. Michael Voss is out here. Kendi, the main pusher of CRT is vile. I am absolutely not a fan of Kendi at all. I agree with you, Mike. I'm not a fan. The worst part about it is I think he knows it, and that's worse. Guys, I really appreciate all the time you gave me this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching and for listening, for your phone calls and your chat. I will see you all next week. Thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. So